Good morning, everyone. It's overcast today, but it's really humid. It's humid again. Yesterday afternoon, I made the video about noon, and in the afternoon it got really hot again. And this morning I was out here before 5 o'clock already, and came out going, man, hasn't cooled down a whole lot, but now it feels cooler. It's the temperature changes here. Okay, I thought that they mostly just happen where I live because we live in a microclimate, and the temperature there can change within an hour. It can be completely different from what it started out, either way, cold or hot. And but it's here happening too, I notice. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I didn't grow up like that. You woke up in the morning and there was a certain temperature. You knew it was going to warm up a little bit or get, I don't know, a little bit. Okay, it would warm up. It wouldn't get colder. Okay, yeah, okay. But it wasn't like it is here in in Kentucky. In the Bay Area in California, it was the same. The temperature kind of seemed whatever you got is what you got, kind of stabilized, if one wants to call it that. But it's not like that here in this state. Not at all. Interesting to me on how the weather can just flop like that. Always in favor of, we have our tomatoes coming in. They're beautiful, they're big. And turns out I must have planted two different types of tomatoes, not just the Rutger, which, by the way, the Rutger tomatoes, it's an heirloom, Rutger, Rutger. That's what they're called, Rutger tomatoes. They're heirloom, which means that they're not hybrid, which means that you can keep the seeds and grow them again from the seeds that you're getting from your harvest in the tomato, and they're wonderful. They're hardy. The plants are hardy. The tomatoes are delicious. But I must have planted two different types of tomatoes at home and either forgot to write it down or didn't notice. That's me. And so we have another one, and I want to, it's a German something, and I can't remember the proper, I remember the German part, that's it. Anyway, but they're delicious, they're coming in, and again, it's one of those things when plants, is it fruit or vegetables, have the proper environment to grow and produce and are taken care of with get some tender loving care, TLC, right? It just is. They taste amazing. And tomatoes are considered a fruit, not a vegetable, right? And with these tomatoes here, they have a sweetness to it that you're going, oh yeah, that's why they're a fruit. Okay, they're a fruit because of the family that they're coming from or associated with in the fruit family. But still, delicious tomatoes, just delicious. And I made some salsa already. The bell peppers are also coming in and being used up as they come in. And I made some salsa, and so good. And when I make salsa, I just eat it like a salad too. I don't have to have the chips with it or whatever. So, anywho, delicious, delicious. Oh, I was going to mention that today, though I read up on that yesterday. There are all kinds of things that one is not supposed to eat when you have, for example, arthritis or gout or this or that. And I would say when it comes to processed foods, yes. But tomatoes, for example, was one that I've seen so many posts. Don't eat tomatoes if you have arthritis. Well, one of the reasons is actually not arthritis, it's gout. because there's something in tomatoes that produces what? Uric acid. And uric acid is what gets expelled out of your bloodstream if you have too much of it, which supposedly smarter people have more of that. Old wives' tales. And it settles as crystals once it's out of your bloodstream. Instead of staying liquid, it crystallizes, and often in your joints. And in my case, it's my big toes. I've controlled it for gosh, now almost 30 years without kind of medication. Cherries, supposedly, decrystallize these crystals. And again, that seems to work. I've eaten cherries and gone, oh yeah, that feels much better. And it's not progressing. So I must be doing something right. And, but with tomatoes, I thought, man, I like tomatoes. I really like tomatoes fresh. Not a big tomato person, tomato sauce person, or on pizza. I'd rather have pesto on pizza than tomato sauce. I'm not a tomato juice person. Or cooked tomatoes, not a big fan of it, but I love them fresh, right from the vine, okay? And in salads. So I thought, man, that's one thing I grow every year is tomatoes. Why now I can't eat tomatoes because... So I went and read up on it. How true is it? It's not. There's no scientific, or there isn't. There's not. It's not proven. They just assume, but there's nothing proven that tomatoes in any way cause more arthritis or inflammation or this or that. And it's with several other things that they had in the same, right? For example, vinegar. Vinegar is supposedly, apple cider vinegar, really good for you. It's not, there's no proof for that. And surely a little bit, which I do, by the way. I make my own vinegar from scratch, and I have. And the blueberry one, for example, right, which I've also talked before, had this amazing effect in people for their liver count and their kidney health and this and that, because blueberries have a lot of antioxidants in it. So yes, there are some vinegars, for example, the blueberry one, that are amazing, and I don't have to go and read up on it. I've heard from the people that had it, went to the doctor said, whoa, what did you take? What are you taking? Keep taking it because it's working. So, for some things you don't need study, just experience, right? Yes? And, but otherwise, vinegar, apple cider vinegar, supposedly, no. But in small doses, I'm sure. Yes? Okay. So I make my own, and I made a peach one, and it's delicious, and I take it with just about every meal. And one thing that I've noticed doing that, I said not just whenever, but when I have eaten, I take like a little shot glass full of that peach vinegar that I made myself, and I feel that I suddenly started having some acid reflux, not heartburn, but acid reflux. Man, I really don't like that. I've never had that, and I wonder why. Something must be going on in my stomach, or I'm not producing enough acid or something. I'm not sure what it was. Too much acid. Oh, so I introduced more acid into my system, right, with the vinegar. But it seems to be working. So I'm not sure whatever food you eat, and I eat pretty good food, and try to stay away from the processed, canned, and all that kind of jazz. But it seems to work, and so there it is. But many different things, if you hear about it, go and read up on it yourself. That's what I did. Especially when it came to the tomatoes, I found out I'm going to go and read up on this. No, it's fine. And at the end of the article, which was from Healthline kind of thing, it said anything in small doses is fine, or should be fine, unless your doctor specifically tells you, okay, because of for one thing or another, and to just eat healthy, yes, what's eating healthy these days? People are going to have to go and read up on that on their own. I do know that if I eat vegetables and fruits that I grow in my garden and certain other things. I know, and the herbs. I know that's healthy. Yes. And again, I'm not going to eat 10 tomatoes a day. If I can have 1 tomato a day now while they're coming in, and there's so many of them, yes, then and that's how I like to eat them, then that's what I'm going to do. Yes. Oh, one of the best things, by the way, for arthritis, there's no cure for arthritis, okay? They are very honest about it. That's nice to know. Okay, you got it, but what really helps with the inflammation of arthritis is what? Fish stuff. Right? Yes, salmon, sardines, yes, things like that. Omega-3 fatty acids. There. But don't take too much of that either. Anywho, so there it is. Oh, let's get going then. 1 Samuel 18. When David had finished, oh, wait a minute. That's not true. We had already 18. We are in 1 Samuel 19. Here we go. Jonathan intercedes for David. It'd be really interesting to know why Jonathan had such a affiliation for David, but it doesn't say. Saul let his son Jonathan and all his servants know of his intention to kill David. Really? But Jonathan, so again, just out of this one sentence, Saul, the king, is letting everybody know I'm going to kill this dude. And I'm going to kill him because I don't like him anymore. Regardless of how he helped me with my nightmares, this, that, and I don't know what. I'm going to, because I don't like him because, what? Because of what? Because the people loved him more. Or so Saul assumes. Why does Saul have in his mind that he deserves more credit than David for what David has done? Again, isn't that weird? This is a weird thing. Right? Yes. On how this all comes. But here he tells his son and the servants, and servants talk, don't they? That he's going to kill David. As if he's above murder. He's the king. He's not even worried that anything's going to happen to him. Including God. Though he feels God's rejected me, this or that, right? Again, playing the victim here, right? And deserted him. God deserted him. Yet he's not afraid of God, who looks like, oh, there is the next one. That's the one who's favored by God. Saul has completely lost it on every level. Completely lost it. And again, why? Where's Samuel? Where are the Levites? Where is the tribe that God had put in place to take care of the spiritual welfare of the Israelites? Where are they? Or where have the Levites gone? Are they kind of in the same boat as Saul, completely lost their position that God had put them in? And Saul's being guided by whom? Counseled by whom? Samuel's, Eli's descendants, and Samuel's descendants, who are already known to be what? Not following God's guidance either, right? Interesting. There you go. King is above. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to follow the God's commandments. Thou shalt not murder. He's ready, and he's telling everyone, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. But Jonathan, Saul's son, held David in great affection. And Jonathan warned David, my father Saul is looking for a way to kill you. So be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding, stay out of sight. I shall go out and keep my father company in the countryside where you will be, and shall talk to my father about you. I shall see what the situation is and then tell you.
Jonathan spoke highly of David to Saul, his father, and said, "The king should not harm his servant David. Far from harming you, what he has done has been greatly to your advantage." He took his life in his hands. He killed the Philistine, and Yahweh brought about a great victory for all Israel. You saw for yourself how pleased you were. Why then sin against innocent blood by killing David for no reason? Saul was impressed by Jonathan's words. Saul swore, "As Yahweh lives, I will not kill him." Jonathan called David and told him all this. Jonathan then brought him to Saul, and David remained in attendance as before. This is how I feel God works often. Through someone else. If, right? Yes? And in this case, obviously, right? Again, I'm not sure how much God's really on this path with these kings. You know, Samuel, Saul, David, Jonathan is in a place of what? At least to what? Remind his father to not kill innocent people. In this case. And it's only because why? Because Jonathan has great affection for David. Sometimes I wonder, right, what it means to love your enemy. Right? Yes? B. The flight of David. Saul's attempt on David's life. It never lasts long, does it? War broke out again, and David sallied out to fight the Philistines. He inflicted a great defeat on them, and they fled before him again. An evil spirit from Yahweh came over Saul again, while he was sitting in his house with his spear in his hand. David was playing the harp. Saul tried to pin David to the wall with his spear. Again, we already heard about this. But he avoided Saul's thrust, and the spear stuck in the wall. David fled and made good his escape. Wait a minute. We already heard about that. Now we're hearing about it again? Or was this another time? Again, with the spear. Is this all the same story of one event made into what? 2 events? Or what? I'm not getting it. But it's okay. All right. So there we go again. David is saved by Michal. That's his wife. That same night, Saul sent agents to watch David's house, intending to kill him in the morning. But Michal, David's wife, warned him, "If you do not escape tonight, you will be a dead man tomorrow." Michal then let David down through the window, and he made off, took to flight, and so escaped. Michal then took a domestic image, laid it on the bed, put a tress of goat's hair at the head of the bed, and put a cover over it. When Saul sent the agents to arrest David, she said, "He is ill." Saul sent the agents back to see David with the words, "Bring him to me on his bed for me to kill him." So in the agents went, and there in bed was the image with the tress of goat's hair on its head. Saul then said to Michal, "Why have you deceived me like this and let my enemy go, and so make his escape?" Michal replied to Saul, "He said, 'Let me go, or I shall kill you.'" Now, okay, I don't know. Well, so she got out of it, but that's her father. She could just said, "Well, I don't want you to kill my husband." Why would you do that, Father? For what reason? But she lies. Okay. I don't know. I mean, people can read this however they want to. Okay, all right. Saul and David at Ramah with Samuel. I can't find God in any of this. This is just, okay, it's in here. Oh, with Samuel. David, having fled and made his escape, went to Samuel at Ramah and told him exactly how Saul had treated him. He and Samuel went and lived in the huts. Word was brought to Saul, "David is in the huts at Ramah." Saul accordingly sent agents. Sounds like Saul's not even leaving his own place anymore. At this point, I don't even know. Oh, look, I found a flower in here. It must be one that Abby gave me. Look how cute. I don't know what his mental health is by now, but it sounds like Saul's not leaving his palace. Does he have a palace? Where does he actually live, you know? Or wherever he is. But he's definitely feels that he's above any kind of law, above the people, and he's out for one thing and one thing only, to kill David. That's what it sounds like. So he sent out his agents to capture David. When they saw the community of prophets prophesying and Samuel there as their leader, the Spirit of God came over Saul's agents, and they too fell into a frenzy. What's that mean now? When Saul was told of this, he sent other agents, and they too fell into frenzy. Saul then sent a third group of agents, and they fell into frenzy too. He then went to Ramah himself, and arriving at the large storage well at Seku, asked, "Where are Samuel and David?" And someone said, "Why, they are in the huts at Ramah." Making his way from there to the huts at Ramah, the Spirit of God came over him too, and he went along in a frenzy until he arrived at the huts at Ramah. He too stripped off his clothes, and he too fell into a frenzy in Samuel's presence, then collapsed naked on the ground for the rest of that day and all night. Hence the saying, "Is Saul one of the prophets too?" Huh? That's the end of 19. Alright, so being in a frenzy means that you strip off your clothes and you fall to the ground. Alright, I'm sorry, you guys lost me here. Maybe maybe it's some, I don't know. This just doesn't sound like anything we've read before and what God's guidance was to the Israelites. But they're having an odd way of recognizing what now? What a prophet is. So are David and David and Samuel also stripped naked and laying on the floor in a stupor, a frenzy or something? I'm not getting it. I don't understand. What I do understand though is, from having just read this, is on how pagan practices are worming their way into the Bible. Yes? On how, people kind of get, one said, well, one can see that in churches as well, and how people suddenly get, okay, all right, don't know. I have no idea. So has never the Spirit of God or the Holy Ghost, does it come down on me, and like, oh my gosh, yeah, but not like that. I remember that I was sitting at a church one time, and they were singing, and then the people would come forward, and they would pray on the people, one particular one, and it was like this, and the person that was praying, it's almost as if, okay, I couldn't tell if the person just went to get kind of cleansed in this way, one way, to just receive in a way, or if it was to purge something, right? Yes? Okay. Not just cleansing, but purging something out that then didn't want to leave. Okay. And I sat in the pew and I watched, and something did come over me that made me feel, in a way, very uneasy and jittery. Not because I thought this was such a great time, because I looked and I thought, this is not, there's something has entered right now in this church that shouldn't be here, that doesn't belong. And one could say that looked like some kind of a frenzy. Yes? Oh, but here it says, I know what it says there. So, in any case, the conclusion that the people came to is, oh, Saul, right, must be a prophet too. Is he one too? Because he was, the Spirit of God came, it says, down on him, and, right, yes? Or, again, because the people of Israel didn't really follow God. They didn't follow his guidance. God said so himself to Samuel. This is what you want? Well, then give it to the people. They don't want me. They're rejecting me and my guidance. Right? Though, it sounds like, oh no, God's there. No, it's the people who are making it look like God is there. And God is with them. But I think by now we know that's not true. And what comes into place? Yes? Suddenly, there are all over the world, in many different countries, this and that, you have people who dance themselves into a trance, this and that, I don't know what. And it's not just that, it's other things too. And then suddenly, right, oh, the Spirit's coming down on them, isn't it? Is that truly from God? Just putting the question out there. What do I think? Absolutely 100% not. That's not God. It's not the guidance of God, and God would not present himself like that in any way. Just saying. That's been my experience. Yes? It's almost as if one loses control, in a way, over oneself and one's body. Then one has another excuse to say, well, it came down on me, one way or the other, good or evil. It wasn't me. Yes? Okay. I think that's lying to oneself. And I don't think that's a good thing. Lying to oneself. Okay. That's all I have to share this morning. I have one little one here today with me, and this is a great day to go and cut that Johnson grass. I want more. Oh, you guys want to see what I made? Let me go get it. One last thing. It came out a little short, but my daughter, my youngest one, said it didn't have to be longer than this. I made this out of Johnson grass. Yes. I made a little loom that I gave my granddaughter a couple of years ago, and that I also made myself. And it's not that big, and I had to have something to pull it off with. But she says, Mom, make me to make sushi, right? Yes, the roll up. I said, well, it's going to be kind of short on. She says, that's all I need. So I made her one. Look, I don't know if it's going to hold up or not. She can let me know. But I like this so much, and I want to make some placemats. This not have a bigger loom at home. And I can make a bigger one even if I need to, right? It's not hard to make a loom. And so anyway, so here we are. Now I'm just waiting to give it to her. But I made it out of that Johnson grass. And I want more of it. There's so much over there.
And I can take home a whole big old bundle, and for the winter time then again I'll have something to do and practice on and kind of come up with different things. I love it. Just love it. That's all I have to share. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you. I will talk to you all another time.